dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. The time is 6:02 on January 22nd. I'm Madison Pergram, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News This Morning on this chilly Wednesday morning. As we said, it's been cold all week. Let's go to Brandon Robinson. Brandon, you definitely need that coffee today.
Yes, and you need the heavy winter coats today and all the layers. I posted a picture of me earlier coming out in layers. It was 13 when I left my house this morning. It's colder than that in some spots. Let's take a look at our current conditions outside the WYMT studios. Clear but frigid this morning. You'll see that on temperatures. 13 in Monticello, 12 Irvin, 13 also in Ashland, 14 in Logan, now 15 in Prestonsburg, 21 in Wise is the, and I use air quotes for this one, hot spot this morning. It's the warmest spot in the region. Wind chills, not too bad right now, mostly close to the air temperature, except for Wise, a little cooler there in the teens, and it feels like 0 in Monticello this morning. Your frost scrape alert, you'll probably need to do that for a couple of minutes. Need to warm those cars up if you don't, because it is a cold start to this day. Forecast 46, sunny skies. Clouds will start to develop later today. As we look ahead, we'll see a cold morning give way to some rain chances as we head toward the end of the week and some warmer temperatures in between. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit. Madison.
Thank you, Brandon. Well, a jolt on Monday afternoon left hundreds of people startled across the Cumberland Valley. An earthquake shook and worried many and left dispatch centers inundated with curious calls. Yesterday, we were given access to some of those calls, and WYMT's Hannah Reynolds gives us a better picture of what those 911 centers dealt with.
What started as a fairly quiet Monday holiday.
Whitley Dispatch.
Hello, this is Whitley County 911.
Can I help you?
Whitley County 911.
Whitley Dispatch.
Quickly turned into a frantic afternoon at Whitley County Dispatch.
I've tried to call the sheriff, but we've had an earthquake or something here in the Pleasant View area. I'm here at Hemlock, and it rattled my closet doors.
Calls flooded the 911 center when a 3.8 magnitude earthquake felt from miles away rocked communities across the mountains.
I heard that's on Mount Morgan. My whole house just shook. Somebody doing some blasting or something around here?
Down the road at G&E Drive-In in Williamsburg, employees like Cassie neared the end of their lunch rush.
We honestly, whenever I'm here, like you're working, and that's what you're here to do, so that's what you're doing. So I honestly didn't even know that it happened.
The jolting shocks left hundreds of people flocking to social media.
After I stopped to actually think about it, there were a few things that were actually part of it that happened, like the lights flickering and different things like that. And then some of our regulars that I was talking to said that they had felt it.
For those who felt the rumble,
I might work more Monday mornings now. See what else fun happens.
They will not soon forget.
It shook every picture of on my wall. It shook the floors and everything.
That uneasy feeling of the earth's tremble. In Whitley County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, the U.S. Geological Survey says this earthquake was actually the second of the week. Another 2.8 magnitude earthquake was reported in Williamsburg on Sunday. And the Floyd County coroner tells us that one person was hit and killed by a car last night. It all happened on Route 80 near the Garrett exit. We are still trying to figure out what led up to the crash, and we will keep you updated as we learn more over on our website at WYMT.com. And we learned last night that one Eastern Kentucky teen died in a crash on Sunday. Brandon Rowe just graduated Magoffin County High School in May. His visitation is all day today, and the funeral is at 11 tomorrow morning. All services will be held at Magoffin County Funeral Home, and Rowe was just 18 years old. And people were kept from their homes, and a roadway was closed for hours yesterday after a propane truck crashed in Lincoln County. This is a look at the scene, and the tanker carrying several thousand gallons of propane flipped on its side. Police say the driver of the truck did suffer minor injuries and was taken to the Somerset Hospital. Kentucky Vehicle Enforcement investigated the crash scene. And the Bluegrass Army Depot in Madison County started destroying nerve agents stored at the facility. More than 500 tons of chemical weapons are being housed at the base. They say the first nerve agent projectile was destroyed Friday. The mustard gas stockpile at the depot started being destroyed last summer. The full chemical weapon stockpile is scheduled to be destroyed by the end of 2023. And a proposed bill could leave you spending more when you shop. Representative John Sims Jr. is sponsoring a bill that would raise sales taxes in 2021. I talked to some local small business owners to get their thoughts on the potential change. Paying more at the checkout counter.
My first thoughts were that we are already burdened. Small businesses are burdened with the economy in southeastern Kentucky.
A proposed bill in the Kentucky State House would raise the sales tax if passed to 8%.
You know, when you think of 2%, you don't think that's a whole lot, but when you start adding 8 cents to a dollar, you know, everything goes up.
And it is something on the minds of some small business owners like Joey McKinney, owner of Appalachian Apparel.
It creates more of a strain on people who are already maybe struggling to buy the things that they need and stuff in the first place.
But his main concern is his customers.
The sales tax, again, it doesn't affect my bottom line, but it does translate to the customers and puts the pressure on them more to have to pay that increase in the tax,
leaving them paying more at checkout.
When you add this 8% to everything, it's going to make a difference.
A change that some worry could impact your wallet at local businesses. Now, currently, the bill is referred to the Kentucky House Appropriations and Revenue Committee. If it were to pass, it would be the first sales tax increase since 1990. And Transylvania University has announced its next president. Brian Lewis will be the next person to lead the university. Lewis is currently the president of Catawba College in North Carolina. Seamus Carey previously served as the university's president, and John Norton Williams is currently serving as interim president. Lewis will start his term as president on July 1st. And it's the video that is spreading all across the country. An Eastern Kentucky broadcaster calling a big moment and now being remembered for a big saying. Nick Oliver introduces us to the man who has placed Eastern Kentucky in a national spotlight.
This is awesome. 606, by God.
It's fair to say this moment has blown up and has caught the attention of not only the 606, but every other area code you could probably think of. And the voice behind the iconic call?
606, by God.
That would be Burke Gardner. He and his partner Facebook Live games all across Eastern Kentucky with their podcast. On this night, after the All-A championship between Paintsville and the Shelby Valley boys basketball teams, a tussle between a fan and a security guard led to the 606 by God saying coming to life.
I don't know, it just kind of came out, man. It just was the first thing that came to my mind, and I guess it was a good thing to say.
The saying is not just staying on the airwaves. Lexington t-shirt company Kentucky for Kentucky are also jumping in. This shirt is now on pre-sale.
It was so glorious, and Burke was just hilarious, the reactions to it. And based on the response that we've had so far online, I think it's been a thing. It just needed to happen.
In this t-shirt, only a piece of the attention Garner is now receiving.
Pretty surreal. And unexpected too. I just thought I was saying what came to mind and calling a game with my buddy next to me. So didn't really expect it. Just kind of surreal.
And as for any future broadcasting contracts,
if you're out there and interested,
he's now playing the waiting game.
This is awesome. 606, by God.
In the 606, Nick Oliver, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, Garner says while the attention is great, he is proud to be showcasing Eastern Kentucky.
Weather this morning, it is frigid to say the least. Let's take a look at some of those temperatures as we head out the door. We're going to continue to see dropping temperatures. 12 in Irvin, 13 Monticello, Ashland, 14 in Logan, 15 in Prestonsburg, 17 Pikeville and London. And temperatures, the coldest they've been in quite some time, 21 in Wise right now. Across the state, 21 Paducah, Louisville, and then you see Nashville as well. That's the warmest spots in the region. 17 in the Tri-Cities, 15 in Cincinnati, and 14 in Charleston, West Virginia. Your 12-hour planner today, we are going to climb into the upper 40s, which is a nice change of pace. Sunshine after this frigid morning there. There is some frost out there, so be aware of that and make sure you give yourself time to warm up those cars or scrape them off before you head out. Madison?
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Coming up, we take you to Pike County, where one high school student took her fight to faith for the President of the United States. In our nation's capital, the first full day of the Senate impeachment trial of President Trump started yesterday afternoon.